Thank you for standing by and welcome to the Radiopharm Theranostics Investor Webinar and Q&A, following the recent announcement of a strategic investment by Lantheus Holdings, which form part of a 70 million Australian dollar capital raising. All participants are in a listen-only mode. There will be a presentation followed by Q&A based on questions submitted live during the session. If you'd like to submit a question, please do so using the Q&A function within the Zoom app. On the webinar for Radiopharm Theranostics, we have Executive Chairman Paul Hopper and Managing Director and CEO Riccardo Canevari. The presentation will last for approximately 15 minutes with some time for Q&A thereafter. To begin, I'll hand it over to Paul. Please go ahead.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for your interest. And for those of you who are shareholders, thank you for the support of the company. Riccardo and I and the board are acutely aware that it's been a long 3 years since IPO, and notwithstanding our best efforts and intentions, the share price obviously hasn't reflected the value of the company, which has now been recognised by the global leader in radiopharmaceuticals, as Matt mentioned, namely the Nasdaq-listed Lantheus. This is a transformational deal for us to have Lantheus, out of all the opportunities that face them globally in terms of M&A or acquisition, to have them choose Radiopharm is a remarkable event. Now, we always knew that the portfolio of assets that we were building were valuable. Obviously, we had trouble getting the market to recognise that, but the decision by Lantheus to take up to 19.9% of the company in two tranches is pretty monumental for us. So we're pretty thrilled. The effect of that, of course, was to garner a huge amount of interest, not only in the US, but also in Australia. And over the course of a couple of weeks, we did in excess of 55 presentations. And the end result of that was we brought 5 fundamental life science investors onto the share register. And in Australia, there's a who's who of all the life science investors. And so we're pretty thrilled now to have a blue chip share register. So when we went out, we had an expectation that we would do okay, but the end result was far in excess of our expectations, with about $70 million raised. So it puts us in a great position. We'll now be able to exploit all the programs we had, because with the lack of capital, some of those were put on simmer, and now we're able to go forth, and we believe we'll have a runway for a couple of years. So I won't go on. I'll hand over to Riccardo to do his presentations, and we'll be happy to take some questions at the end. Over to you, Riccardo. Thank you.
What is unique about Radiopharm Theranostics is really that our molecules are highly differentiated. We don't have any me too drugs. We are really using radiopharmaceutical imaging and therapies in important targets in oncology, where other radiopharmaceutical companies are not present in the moment. And I will go through the pipeline in a second. But in addition to our well-differentiated molecule that we created internally, about 2 years ago, also we started a very important collaboration with the #1 cancer center in the world, that is MD Anderson. This collaboration went extremely well, and we ended up by creating a joint venture. MD Anderson put additional 4 molecules coming from their R&D, and we are developing those together. So these allow us to have one of the deepest pipeline in the industry, with very interesting molecule and targets. The team was built accordingly to have the right expertise, both in imaging and therapeutic, and our IP is extremely solid. I think it's worth mentioning what Paul shared before, the presence of now anchor investor like Lantheus is really transformational for us, and having 2 years plus runaway is something that we were not experiencing in recent times. So it's really a great opportunity to deliver on important clinical milestone in the near future and within the next 2 years. So Lantheus made the first investment of 7.6 million and is committed to go up to 19.9. Is also contributing to some previous investment that we had on a couple of assets. So I have to say that the agreement came together very nice, very fair from them. It's not always the case when you have a company of 15 million market cap negotiating with a company of 5.5 billion. But I have to say that I've been impressed by how professional they were and how they had in mind really win-win opportunity for both companies. For those that like to look at analogs in the market, there is one company called Perspective Therapeutics. They did, I would call it a very similar deal with Lantheus at the beginning of January 2024. And the stock price went up significantly, almost 3 times, then it went down a little bit. And the market cap of the company went from 250, 300 million to almost 1 billion. So incredible value creation by this agreement. And we hope that investors recognize that we have the potential to be in a similar pattern with having a valuation of the company to grow significantly together with our own share price. But let's come to the clinics and what we are doing with our pipeline. As you know, the company is less than 3-year old, and a lot has been done in this period. It's not always easy to recognize that it takes time to advance molecule from preclinical, do an imaging study, and then be ready for phase 1. And our top 4 priorities are all molecules that within 2024 will be in the clinics. 2 therapeutic programs in phase 1, 1 imaging in phase 1, and 1 imaging in phase 2B is a very important pipeline for a company of our size. So if I start from the top, our RAD 204 is our nanobody targeting PD-L1. We have started phase 1 here in Australia. We are building a strong presence with up to 5 centers enrolling for the trial because we would like to have fast enrollment and presence across the country. So this first phase 1 therapeutic is, of course, very important for us, and we see really good progresses in the preparation. The second trial that will start soon, phase 1, is our nanobody targeting HER2. So HER2 is a typical cancer expression in breast or gastroesophageal cancer. We are targeting to submit to the ethics committee in Q3 and to start. So these are the first 2 therapeutic trials. If we move down, we see our imaging agent in pancreatic cancer. This trial has been approved by FDA. We also receive orphan drug designation. We have announced that we have dosed our first patient, and the trial is continuing enrolling in the US, where we have our clinical center in New York City. In addition to the imaging agent, we are doing very good progresses to advance the therapeutic compound that is probably 6 to 9 months to start phase 1. And I like to close with our most advanced technology is our imaging agent for brain metastasis. We license this technology from Imperial College of London when it was already in phase 2A. So we have important data for this molecule. Phase 1 was performed, phase 2A was then successfully reported. And now we are very close to work with FDA to start our phase 2B in US in 30 patients for brain metastasis indication. So these 4 priorities are also supported by additional 2 molecules that we have in our pipeline. We have a prostate cancer monoclonal antibody that we are planning to radio labeling with a very interesting isotope that is terbium-161. Prostate cancer is a well-known area in radiopharmaceutical, but our approach is different because we are not targeting the typical PSMA receptor, but we are targeting KLK3, that is a new and innovative mechanism of action. This program can enter the clinic in 2025. And I like to close with our molecule coming from MD Anderson. This is the first and the most advanced, is a monoclonal antibody targeting B7H3 expression. The progress of the preclinical work is going extremely well, and we are confident that we can start phase 1 in the first part of 2025. So as you can see, for a company of our size, we are very pleased with our pipeline. We have 4 priorities that are or will be in the clinic extremely soon, and we have 2 additional ones. So a total of 6 molecules is really a deep pipeline for the segment. But we want to be sure that we execute properly, and that's why we focus on our top 4 priorities. We have communicated our intention, plan, and ability to deliver on 4 clinical readouts within the time of that we are financially supporting during our runway. So we expect a readout for our phase 1 therapeutic PD-L1 during, I would say, mid-2025. Our phase 1 for HER2 will read out also within the period at the beginning of 26. Our imaging in pancreatic cancer will read out during this year in 2024. And also our most advanced technology, the phase 2B trial in patients with brain metastasis, will read out in the next, I would say 12, 16 months. So 2 readouts for the therapeutic, 2 readouts for the imaging, and also the ability to start another 2 or 3 trials. So we consider these probably one of the our most important commitment. We know that these 4 readouts can be also ideally inflection point from the company, and so the entire team is fully dedicated to make this happen with as much as possible of flawless execution. So I would like to take another 2 or 3 minutes before the Q&A. We sometimes realize that there is always an opportunity to share more about the advancement of our molecule. For example, for our therapeutic PD-L1, we see a lot of interest in the field. Until now, PD-L1 has been addressed by immune checkpoint inhibitor, but we see an emerging trend of targeting these receptor with different approach. For example, Pfizer has a PD-L1 ADC, and we Radiopharm Theranostics, we are the only company that is a PD-L1 radiopharmaceutical. We know a lot about this molecule. An imaging in phase 1 in 16 patients has been performed. Our partner, Lantheus, is conducting a phase 2 with this imaging agent. To our knowledge, they have completed enrollment of the phase 2 trial, and they are planning to disclose the data of the Pelican trial at one of the next medical conference. I don't have the exact information of when, because it's really their call and their decision. But this is just to say that now we are starting the therapeutic trial, but we have a lot of data with this molecule. We know the human biodistribution, we know the ability to get selectively to the target. So all this information are really giving us the opportunity to start with confidence our phase 1 therapeutic in patients with non-small cell lung cancer. And very similarly, I would say that for our nanobody targeting HER2, the situation is similar. Our preclinical work has been extensive, and that's why we feel that our phase 1 therapeutic now is more de-risked than what it was like something like a year ago. We already have 16 patients where with the imaging agent, we saw the exact molecule behavior. And we have the data again showing the ability of the molecule to be on target and not going to any off-target organ. We know the ability to uptake in the tumor, and we are really excited about phase 1 therapeutic trial that will start now in this second part of 2024 in patients with HER2 breast or HER2 gastric cancer. Our imaging agent for pancreatic cancer, the trial is ongoing. Again, this is reading out this year in 2024, so it will give us the opportunity to inform the market about the results. We are extremely confident about this trial. The reason that we already have almost 100 patients that we have those under compassionate use or investigator-initiated trial with this exact molecule. So we know everything. We know biodistribution. We know that it's safe. We know ability to detect pancreatic cancer metastasis extremely well. So we feel that our phase 1 under FDA rules and regulation just needs to reproduce the same data that we have done and seen before. So we shouldn't expect anything else than positive results from our phase 1 trial when we'll read out at the end of 2024. And let me close with our pivalate, so the brain mets molecule. For those that are less familiar with the space, you know that companies like Lantheus with Pylarify or Telix with Illuccix, they are doing a great job with their imaging for prostate cancer. Now, our imaging for brain metastasis is addressing a market that is as big as prostate cancer. It's about 300,000 new patients every year only in US. And at this moment, to our knowledge, we only have one potential competitor in the space. So we feel very confident about the market potential of this molecule. We know that imaging can get to the market faster in terms of development. Here, we have already done phase 1, phase 2A. We need to do about 30 patients in phase 2B, and probably we need a phase 3 of around 150 patients. So potentially, this is a technology that can reach the market in 2027. and start generating revenues. And importantly, as I mentioned before, is generating revenue in a very large disease area like brain metastasis, where we have already data and where we know there is a significant unmet medical need that give a very important reason to physicians and oncologists to use this PET agent for patients with this oncological disease. So let me close with probably what is our journey ahead. We are fully focused on delivering on our pipeline. The financial resources that we now have are giving us the possibility to advance at full speed these top 4 priorities, and the team has the confidence that we can have 2 therapeutic readout and 2 imaging readout within the next 24 months. So I just want to thank all of you for your attention, for being at this webinar, and clearly to be a supporter of Radiopharm Theranostics. So thanks a lot to all of you.
Thanks, Ricardo. And to Paul also. We'll move on to the Q&A session. The questions are based on those sent through live via Zoom. So once again, if you have a question, please feel free to type it in using the function within the Zoom app or program on your PC. The first question might just be recapping slightly. I think you've got it on screen here, Ricardo, but what other programs will be being developed outside of the lead assets mentioned?
Yeah, Matt, I think I tried to cover in the previous slide. As always, we want to be conscious of allocation of resources. We don't want to try to do too much before delivering on clinical milestone. But the way we build the company, that we have, our top 4 priorities. We have 2 additional late preclinical assets, one in prostate cancer and the other in multiple indication targeting B7-H3. And the way we approach this field, we also have a potential platform for doing more nanobody that we currently have if we find a target that is interesting. So a lot is possible to happen even beyond our 6 molecules that you can see here, but it will take one at a time, one stage at a time. But in case, a company comes and is interested to license one of our agents, we will continue to have a very deep pipeline.
Thank you. Another question that's come through is, are you able to disclose your source of short half-life radioisotopes?
No, absolutely. So everything has been disclosed externally in terms of contracting and collaboration. So I see that in the question it is meant short half-life. So the short half-life, if my understanding of the question is correct, is mainly for the imaging agent. So it is gallium-68, that is about 1 hour, and F18 for pivalate, that is about 2 hours. So these agents are directly produced by the radiopharmacy that are next to the clinical center. So for our phase 1 imaging that we do in New York City, we have a radiopharmacy that is next to the hospital that is delivering gallium-68. We have an agreement with a company that is producing the generators, and we have access to the generator that we need. For the second imaging agent that is pivalate, is a F18 pivalate. In this case, the isotope is supported by the CDMO, so the producer of the molecule, that is also close to the clinical center. And we have an agreement with them. This is regarding the imaging isotope. If we discuss the therapeutic isotope, we are starting our trial either with lutetium-177 or with terbium-161. Both these isotopes has a 7-day half-life, so we don't have any issue in shipping the isotope from different locations where it needs to arrive on time.
Thank you. The next question is, can you speak further on how much M&A activity there's been in the radiopharmaceutical sector?
Oh, absolutely. And probably this will take another webinar, Matt, because there is no single month where we don't read of an additional collaboration acquisition in the space. I think the last was well, last night, where I read an additional acquisition from Eli Lilly of another radiopharmaceutical platform after they are already present in the field. So I think the field is transforming itself. If we go only to 2 years ago, there was only one company that was Novartis in the field. Then Lantheus decided to enter the therapeutic field and became much bigger. But if we look at the usual name in terms of big pharma, is only in the last 12, 18 months that we saw companies like Bristol Myers Squibb, AstraZeneca, Roche, Eli Lilly to enter radiopharmaceutical space. So I think that is a recognition that in oncology, in particular in solid tumor, now radiopharmaceutical represent a new important tool to fight cancer beyond the more traditional targeted therapy, immune oncology, CAR T, now and ADC. So now it is clear to everybody that this is a space where it is important to be present, and I expect that more and more M&A will continue in the future.
Thank you. And the next question is, with the injection of capital, will you be looking to add new personnel to the team to advance the programs as needed?
Well, thank you for the question. The answer is yes, but. So until when we created the company, we had a clear vision of not building a vertically integrated company with labs, R&D facility, and a larger team. So we always stay within, I would say, 8 and 15 people. This has been our team size. Now, in the last year, when we had the opportunity to reduce the size of the team from 12 to 8, and we were waiting to cover the vacant position because we wanted to be sure that we have the financial capital to advance our program, as well as to have the right number of people. So there are 3 or 4 vacant positions in the company that now we plan to put it back on track. But our idea is always to be a company that will remain below 15 people or 15 full-time equivalent, because we believe that we can work very well with the external party on a flexible and project base without adding structural cost to the company.
Thanks, Ricardo. And just final one, if there's no others from the floor, do you think it is Lantheus' intention to increase their shareholding using the option that they took up in the recent capital raising?
Look, this is our understanding. This is what we were told. This is consistent to the business case that I showed before about Perspective Therapeutics, with Lantheus got to 19.9%. Our understanding is that Lantheus will use that option to increase his presence in the company, and We will be very pleased if this is happening even earlier than the 6 months timeline or deadline that has been agreed. It might happen earlier, and we will welcome this possibility.
Thanks, Riccardo. I'll just hand it back to you to provide a concluding comment.
Look, thank you very much, everybody. Has been somehow difficult 3 years. Every time we were looking at the stock price, we were disappointed. At the same time, we had some internal strength, I would say, to see that there was nothing wrong with our molecules. Our molecules are really great piece of science, coming from top university and top investors. In these almost 3 years, we have not seen any sign that the molecule might show, toxicity in the animal model or in any preclinical. We are very pleased with what we see. So we need to continue to be patient. We need to give the market all the possible information as soon as we can. Likely we have open label trials, so we can keep the market informed very frequently on how the clinical trials are going. But overall, we are in a great segment in oncology. We have great molecule, and the team has the expertise to bring them to late stage clinical development. So I continue to be very confident about the future of Radiopharm Theranostics. And I just want to thank you, all of you, for staying with us and supporting us.
Thanks, Riccardo. Thanks again to Paul and for everyone else for joining, and we'll look forward to updating you again next time.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone.